You are watching the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, your escape to reality.
Okay, we're live. No more cussing.
Who's live?
What?
You.
Oh, you're live.
Oh, here we go.
Live.
I'm alive. What is this, a podcast?
Steve, we're live.
We're on.
That's what Ian said. We're happening.
If Ian said it, it must be true.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Welcome to the Friday
Steve?
thing. How you all doing?
Barry
Barry, your
Midland.
video froze a little bit there.
Yeah, well, she's got bad internet tonight because there's a storm
Oh,
in
here we go. Yeah, I'm
Scotland.
usually
In
watching
Scotland.
OBS.
You better get your rubbers.
When are you coming home, Kara? Next week, right?
Yeah, I come home next Thursday.
Well, I was just before you logged in, Kara. I was saying, how cool is it that Kara got to spend what? Like, how long were we there? A month, 2 months?
6 weeks, so a month
Yeah.
and a half, yeah.
You know, that's an amazing amount of time to spend in one of the best places on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, we
Oh,
loved
yeah.
it.
Especially during a pandemic. It's honestly, I think, one of the best places to be.
Yeah, apparently there's lots of places all across the United States that are not the place to be. during the pandemic.
Exactly.
So one thing I wanted to say, as I was thinking, hey, we're going to stream tonight, and I'm just thinking in my head, what do I want to say? Here's what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
If you do anything in the next 74 days,
74 days.
convince 2, 3, 4, 5 people to go vote.
Got it.
Yes. People who are
Voting-
eligible to vote, please.
I'm going to
Voting
vote
is-
as early as possible.
Yeah.
Sorry, rest of the world, you're not eligible.
Yeah, in the United
you do
States.
have to be legally allowed to vote. in the
Evan, they
United
get
States.
it. They know what we got going on over here.
I hear you, but
Yeah,
we
they
got
do.
listeners in Zaire. We got listeners in,
But
And if they
but
could,
it's more
they would
than
vote
just
too.
going to vote. You can you can go to vote.org and see if you're registered, and keep checking to make sure that you don't get purged.
Yes.
And then you could request your
Correct your
ballot
address.
early and mail it in, or better yet, hand deliver it to the drop box
Yeah.
as early as you can,
Yeah, get it counted as early as your state will allow.
and bypass
Get in early.
the mailing, and decompress the lines. But if you haven't voted and it's day of, go to the polls. We'll put a mask on, get in line, go to the
Do
polls
it.
and vote.
Dr. Fauci said it's okay.
Yeah.
So,
6 feet apart.
you don't have to listen to anyone else. Listen to the experts, and they say it's okay. Just
Right.
do it right. Just mind the social mind the distancing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
It's like going to this
For
grocery
those
store.
of
If you
you
go to
who
get
are
food, you
listening-
can go vote.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about this on the SGU as
Oh,
well
yeah.
because there's a lot of people out there that feel like their vote doesn't really matter. It's just going to whatever, there's a lot of excuses people make. This is not a year to make excuses. Like you got to do it. It is what I consider not just a right, but a responsibility. What is
Agreed.
that for killing vampires?
Looks like it, right?
Mr.
I mean, you are in
Pointy.
Scotland. That's where vampires come from.
This is
What?
these are just
Wait,
enormous knitting needles.
Kara, what are you knitting? A house with those?
And
What the
knitting.
Yeah,
hell's going
right.
on?
They look like drums.
Did I
They look
tell
like
you guys?
drumsticks.
I mentioned this last week. This is wool. It's called Cheviot wool, which looks
Yeah.
like Cheviot, but apparently in Scotland they call it
Isle of
Cheviot.
Wight is where you
And
got
I
it?
got it. Isle of Skye.
Isle of Skye.
And it's like fresh off the sheep. Like I watched them put the raw wool through a machine that flattens it. They brush it out and then they spin it into the yarn. It's not dyed or anything. And my hands have lanolin on them just from knitting it. It's really cool.
Hmm.
So I'm making a big kind of spider webby scarf,
Yeah.
and I'm using super, super big gauge needles
Yeah.
because I don't have much yarn and I wanted to go far. Anyway, yes, vote.
Hmm.
I just checked.
Mhm.
I'm still registered. I didn't know that you could be suddenly purged, Steve, and I'm already pissed off about that, but I will be continuing to check.
It's your civic duty. It's not up to them. It's
Yeah.
up to you.
I mean,
have
you
to
know-
take it upon yourself. You can't rely on others for this. Too important. Really.
That's right. Only you can vote for yourself.
That's right.
And only you can keep
Hopefully.
yourself on the proper rolls. I mean,
You know what I thought was funny? There's all this drama about mail-in voting and all the misinformation going around about that it could be it could be ginned up and that it could be blah 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 blah. It's all bullshit. Mail-in voting is extraordinarily secure.
Mhm.
But all of this business with the Postmaster General slowing down the mail, the joke about all of that is that all you got to do if you have a mail-in ballot is just mail it in early.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
if you're
mail it
allowed
in
to.
3 weeks ahead of time. You can mail it in whenever you want.
Yeah, but here's
Right,
the
but the
thing.
problem is a lot of states don't let you vote by mail if you're not absentee, which is not cool.
Yeah,
Like, there are
although
different
this
states-
Well, there
this
has
year
to be a way
most
to
are.
verify it. The absentee system is what is the verification process. It's probably the most secure way to vote, frankly, because
I
you send
agree.
in an application, you sign it, and then you send in your vote, and they compare and make sure it all locks up. So
Right, but some states don't allow anybody to do that. They actually require that you have a reason for it.
Mhm.
But
a lot
that's only a few
Yeah,
states.
but
That's only a few
some
states
states-
this
yeah,
year.
Unfortunately, a few southern states with really bad track records of.
But
of
so the
voting
difference between
suppression.
absentee voting and mail-in voting or vote by mail is simply that with absentee voting, you have to request a ballot.
Right.
Yeah.
And with
Right.
like vote by mail, it's every registered voter automatically gets a ballot. So that's the thing that the Republicans are saying is insecure.
That's
but
the way,
multiple
that's
states
the
have been doing
margin.
that for years, and it's fine. There's like zero
California,
point 0.00004% like erroneous or fraudulent votes. It's negligible. It's not even a round-off error.
Is that really the difference? Because
yeah.
in California, I'm a vote by mail voter, but I had to request it.
That's an
They don't just
absentee
send
ballot. That's
ballots to
absentee. That's technically
Weird.
absentee.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just terminology. 'cause
There's no
it says vote by
terminology.
mail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But there's
they
a
call it
critical
that.
difference, which gets to Jay's point. If you have to wait until you're allowed to request a mail-in ballot, and then you mail in the request form, and then you get your ballot, and then you send in your ballot. But what if that first process is delayed? What if you don't even get your ballot
Right.
until it's too late for there to be enough time for it to go back? That's the concern. If it's delayed both ways, then some people may turn it around in one day and still not get their vote counted.
Well, how hard
But-
is it then? How hard is it to just mail the damn things to people earlier than usual? Is that something that needs, Congress to do? I mean, what?
No, it's state by state. It's
Yeah,
state by
states
state.
handle. It's up to each state. Each
Isn't
state
that a
has.
no-brainer then? Just do what you got to do to make it.
Yeah,
so
but
that
you
can
know,
Yeah,
mail
but
it
Bob,
they got to
but
do
listen,
it. It's the bureaucracy.
this
Some
is new.
governments, yeah, but not just that. I mean, let's be honest here. Some governments do everything they can to make it as easy for every legal voter to vote. Other governments do
Don't.
not do that. That it's called voter disenfranchisement. It's been happening across this country
Oh yeah.
Right.
since the
Since
foundation.
238 years, right?
And so, of course, it's easy. Is the
Wherever.
political will there? That's the question, right? And in certain states, the political will is absolutely there, and that's this. Those are the states where the system, you know, is
The United States
lubricated.
the United States historically, traditionally, especially in recent years, has one of the most secure systems. And
Yeah.
I don't
Secure.
I don't see that change. I don't see that changing.
But
With this.
No. I don't think there's any risk of security. I mean, that's all a completely.
It's fabricated. Yeah.
It's fabricated. Yeah.
But guys,
It's
how
a ploy.
important is this? How important is it in general to vote? It's very, very, very important. Number one, but this is a pivotal election, and we need to go beyond just making sure we as individuals vote. Take it upon yourself to help other people vote. Tell your friends and family, go to vote.org, check to see if you're registered. Please vote. I'll go with you. Blah, blah, blah. Drive your parents, drive your friends, you know, talk to people about it. If we do this, if the skeptical community does this, if we can get 50,000 people to contact 1, 2, 3 other people, it's a lot of people,
Yeah.
right?
And
What do you guys
if
think?
you're young and healthy, you could volunteer to be a poll worker.
Yeah.
Make sure they're
Yeah, they
people
need
working.
volunteers. They're always short
Yeah.
volunteers. More is
Steve,
better.
What if you're
and
old
healthy?
and overweight
You're
like
out.
me? Would they nothing?
Not
Yeah, they
this
don't want
year.
you anywhere near that stuff.
Yeah.
Give it a break. Give it a rest.
Nobody trusts Jay. No, what do you guys think? I know this is not relevant for this election because there's just no way this would ever happen in time. But what do you think about countries where voting is mandated? I'm a big advocate of mandated voting, something we've never had in the US.
I don't know.
I'm
It's a
interested in y'all's
complicated
take on
question.
that.
So to get to Jay's earlier point that it's always important to vote, but the thing is, yes and no, right? Because in the U.S., voting in a typical year is what, like 40% of people vote. But the
You
You
reason
mean like
for
an
that,
election year? You mean like in the general election?
yeah, general election, like not a
Okay, all right.
polarized
Not a
year, just
local,
a
yeah,
regular general election. The reason why voter turnout is generally low in the U.S. is because the stakes are actually quite low. Because we have a constitutional democracy, if you don't follow the news, most elections, your life is not going to change based upon who sits in the White House for most
Well,
people. So
For
again,
some
if you,
people.
yeah, but that's for those. That's why there's not much incentive to vote unless you're in a situation where it will make a difference. Now, I think in the last 20 years, the polarization has gotten to the degree that the stakes are going up every year, and this year they're just massive. Go ahead.
We also don't elect the popular vote, and that's
Yeah.
always been a problem with the way that our elections go. It's not just the electoral college, but it's also the way that
Yeah.
it works in terms of getting enough, well, it is the electoral college in terms of getting enough electors. So it's whoever gets the majority of electors, but that's not necessarily ever the majority vote because so few people vote. And if you have a third party, we don't knock the third choice out and then rerun. We
Right.
take whoever gets the top choice, which could be only 35% of the vote technically.
Yeah, but it
And
could be the
that's-
electoral college is another reason, though. You're correct because, like, if you come from a solid red or a solid blue state, I know personally know a lot of people are like, meh, I'm from Connecticut. My vote's not going to matter because Connecticut always goes blue.
Yeah, it's a bad attitude.
It is, but that's
It is
another
a bad,
reason that
I mean,
saps people of motivation. If you come from a swing state, like if you lived in Pennsylvania in 2016. I think they said like that was determined by like 1 vote or 2 votes per precinct or something. It was ridiculous.
Per county, yeah.
Yeah, per county.
Yeah.
But I think I'm seeing a lot of really good points in the comments. Like, I think a lot of times people are only motivated to go to the polls when we're talking about the presidency, when we're talking about the general election, not even the midterms. But even let's say you only go out for the general and the midterms, so few people actually care about what's happening at local levels and vote in local elections. But what's bananas is that those affect your life way more intensely.
Right.
Way more. Like voting for
Local
your
stuff,
DA, voting for your comptroller, for your board of education. Like these things affect your life in a massive way.
That's
and
true.
so few people are involved in that.
But there's so much to say about voting. There's a huge history. That's tons of information like this. I've been trying to learn about it. I'm trying to see what's happened historically. But let's not overcomplicate this. You guys know, especially you should go vote. I think everybody needs to take on that responsibility.
Of course.
Yes.
And
that's why I think there should be compulsory voting.
Well, okay, I'll differ with you there, Kara. Some people
Okay.
choose to withhold their vote as a means of either protest or something else, and I think if you take that away from people, that's one less option.
that is such a ridiculous
Well,
thing.
I don't
in my
think that
opinion.
But
You
you
mean
don't
people
have
who-
to actually
people who-
physically check the box, Evan. You can go, sign your name, show up to vote, and as a protest, not put anything on the ballot. That's fine. But you
more,
should have
yeah.
to vote.
Look, hey,
Engage,
I'm saying,
even maybe halfway there. Oh,
I've
sorry,
voted
I'm
every
probably on a
election that I
delay.
possibly can, so I'm not condoning it.
Me too.
But I'm also not calling for the
Mhm.
for the compulsory.
I just
I'm,
think
I'm,
that
I'm not convinced by that.
But Evan, really, what is the big deal about it? If we say you live in country X, doesn't even matter what country you live in, country whatever, and there's an enormous amount of tax money that gets taken away from everyone to run the country, and it's very important for the populace to vote, and I'll tell you why. And I think compulsory voting might help people realize that they have to be educated in what is going on.
Yeah, they might pay more
Yeah.
attention if they know they got to pull some lever.
And you also might get more uninformed voters going to
Yeah.
the polls, not knowing what
may.
they're doing.
If voting's
You may.
mandatory, could they make education mandatory? Somebody made that point on
what
the
does that mean?
comments.
Education is mandatory.
No, I mean voter education.
Well, that should be
Well,
part of
you
your
know.
civic.
Are we gonna dive down that
honestly.
rabbit hole? Oh my gosh!
No, but it's required by
civics in
law in the
school?
United States that you attend school. You can't just
No,
not
I
go
get
to
that, but
school.
what you learn at school is by no means. There's no law as to what you have to learn at school.
No, but I think basic civics education.
There are
is
some
included in
there are
almost
some
every
standards that have been
curriculum.
adopted,
Yeah.
There are
but
state
nothing
level
is
standards.
mandatory. There are state level
And
standards.
Even somewhere halfway in between. I have a friend who has been involved for many years in a campaign called Why Tuesday. And it's really simply that. Why is our voting day on a Tuesday? That in and of itself
Yes.
disenfranchises.
It should
a
be a
lot of
holiday.
people.
Just make it a
It should be
holiday.
a holiday, and it should
paid
and it should be like
holiday.
on a weekend.
Well, aren't there laws protecting people from being either, punished in some way for not showing up to work that day or something to go vote? I think there
Yeah,
are
but how do
things in
you-
place for that.
There are laws that will keep you from getting fired for leaving work to vote, but that doesn't mean they have to pay you for the time that you're away.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of people
If
who are
you're
going to choose to
self-employed.
go to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if if you're an
I've
hourly
not heard
wage
of those
worker.
incidents. I don't know of
Oh, I
anyone
hear
who's
about
ever.
them all.
You've heard about
Just
people
make it
who-
a holiday.
And guys, why is it only
Massive
one
problem.
day? Why can't voting take place over?
Well, a lot of
Oh,
states do allow
to-
early voting.
Yeah, there is early voting, Jay. It
We
is
do in
multi-state.
California.
There's another thing. They don't. We can't start counting mail-in ballots until election day. That's
fine.
crazy. They should just let them start counting 3 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah,
But they just have to keep them sealed. They can't make anything public until
Yeah,
election day.
we don't have
Nothing should be made public until the polls close.
Nothing should
Until
be
the
made
last
public, right.
state's polls close.
There's a level of trust and confidence and faith you have to have in a voter system, and you don't want to do a lot of things that will otherwise. People will have the perception, whether it's real or not, that somehow things are being undermined or tricked or tweaked.
You
in
like
certain
slowing down the
ways.
mail system?
Exactly.
Too much
Exactly.
before a
Yeah.
major election.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
right. That
Or sowing
that sows
distrust.
distrust in the
Yeah.
system. It's bad because there has to be a certain level of faith in the system. You
Oh, I
can't
agree.
have a system.
The problem
can't
is
have a
right
vote system
now
without
that's-
it.
Don't you feel like, Evan, right now that's kind of crippled in our country? There's our
Crippled? Crippled.
own commander in chief is sowing distrust in
Yeah.
mailing your ballot.
Yeah,
That's a problem.
that's a problem.
Yeah, but
Undermining trust in the basic tenet of our democracy.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
and on top of that, Kara,
anything that
worse than
chips
that.
away at it is bad. Anything. I
Yeah,
don't
but
care
worse,
who it's
worse
coming
than
from.
that is not saying that that he will accept the results.
Yeah.
I think that's even worse.
It's unprecedented.
And also,
No, it's not
and
unprecedented.
also-
He said it in 16.
no, I mean before Trump.
And he's also at multiple rallies now kind of floated the idea of like, I think I should get a third term.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
he's
feel like-
oh, come
He's
on.
done that many times,
Okay,
yeah.
that's
I was spied on
sarcasm.
during my first-
That's
It's not
sarcasm.
sarcasm.
Oh, that is
really.
that is-
I would
come
not
on,
make
that
that
is
assumption.
sarcasm.
I would
You
not
guys
make that
think
assumption.
Oh
that
my
he
gosh,
is
you
not
really
a
think
desperate
he doesn't
training?
know that he's limited to
Kara,
two
He
terms?
floated the
Of course-
idea.
of
He
course he
floated
knows
the
that.
idea. It didn't go
Of
anywhere.
course
He
he
says
knows it.
He
No,
says
but
it to
he's
get a
gonna
charge.
push those limits
Look,
as much as he can.
At that point, he's living totally rent free in your head, in my opinion. And you look, if you're gonna be affected by that kind of stuff that he says, I think
But
you're
the thing is,
worrying about
after-
the wrong thing.
After everything he's
Evan.
said and done, we can't give him the benefit of the
Oh,
doubt.
come
Evan.
on,
There's no
but
benefit of the doubt.
okay, but what
could you not
suddenly
be
what like
worried?
suddenly the army is gonna defend him and leave him in for a third term
But
and
Evan,
allow
you're
that
missing.
to
You're
happen?
missing.
It's
You're
not.
missing
You're
the
talking
point.
I'm not
about a
missing the
big
point.
leap.
The point is, he
We're
is
talking
floating
about
it.
small changes
Yes.
that happen slowly, and
Yeah,
then you become a
constitutional
fascist
changes
state.
of which no one person, Trump or anyone otherwise, has any control.
But you're
over.
already
That's
a couple
Trump has-
layers
why we have
deeper
a
than Trump,
constitution.
Evan.
my
Yeah,
God.
Trump has stressed our Constitution to its breaking point, and he's gotten away with far more than any president has
We
before.
are
It's also
talking
floated the
about
idea
an
of delaying
amendment
the
of
election.
Constitution, though. I mean,
Okay, what about
Evan,
that? What about
but
that?
he's going to suddenly, if he starts, okay, let's say tomorrow he starts talking about stripping the right for women to vote, which is eventually the same thing, equally. That it's in the Constitution. You can only have 2 terms as a president. It's in the Constitution that women have the right to vote. What if he started poking away at that? What would you be? Would you think that he's really serious or somehow could hatch
Yes.
some master plan to get that underway?
Those are 2 different things, Evan. It's one thing to question whether or not he's serious, which he absolutely is. It's another thing to question whether he's capable of it. But I don't want to put myself in a position to find out if he's capable. I want to do everything I can as an activist to prevent him from taking even an inch.
That's
that
a
he
level
wants
of
to
fear
take.
I don't have. I'm sorry, I just don't have.
Well,
that
you are in a
level of
privileged
fear.
position,
Okay,
and I
you
think
can
that
call that. You can call that.
I think that, he's not going to take the right of a white man to vote. He's not going to, try and support ethnic minorities in our country. What Trump is going to keep trying to do is stay in power, make money off the presidency, and disenfranchise anybody who he doesn't think will vote for him.
So
And
here's
I
the
think
thing.
we should all be afraid of that.
Before we leave politics, which we are about to do,
Yay.
the thing is with Trump is that the question of whether or not he's quote unquote serious is actually irrelevant. It's actually the wrong question. It's not even a meaningful question when it comes to Trump because Trump doesn't even think in those terms of reality or serious or not. Trolling and getting a rise
pure
out of people
trolling.
and also like seriously entertaining ideas and whatever. It's all the same thing to him. He says things, he thinks that because he says it, it's true. If he says it enough and he gets enough people to believe it, then it's true. And that's all that matters. He's a con artist. That's been his whole career. He's literally a reality TV show host as president. That's his approach to life. So you don't even ask, does he mean it? Is he serious? It's a
Right.
meaningless question when it comes to Trump. It's absolutely meaningless. But
the
the bottom
question, though,
line
is
is,
should we be concerned about it?
of
And I
course,
think we should.
The
Yeah.
thing is,
Always
as Evan
always
said,
concerned about
as
the
Evan, as you
Constitution.
said, it's the faith in the system is important, and the president should never be calling into question any of the fundamental pillars of our own democracy. He shouldn't be
you're
calling into
absolutely
question
right.
the
I'm not-
legitimacy of our elective, the election process, or of the Constitution, or of the guardrails that exist, or of justices, or of whatever, or of all the things that he has called into question. He shouldn't be doing that as
Of course,
president.
tons of stuff he shouldn't.
But
be
he
doing,
does
does.
because he
But he
never
does.
stopped. He never stopped being that troll when he became president.
And the problem is people just give up at a certain point.
It's the Trump show.
It's like
I've always
they
said
just
it's the Trump
expect
show.
it, And
Yeah.
so they go, oh, well, it's not worse than the thing from last week. But because of that, he gets away with blatant constitutional violations.
But
He was
okay,
blatantly in violation of the Emoluments Clause.
here's my
We all know
final
it.
Yeah,
my
totally.
final thought is that you got to have more faith in our system.
I do.
I used to.
It
used to.
protects you. It protects me. It protects us all from.
But that's
that
only
kind of
as
stuff.
long. I agree with you, Evan, but only insofar as that the people that have positions of power within the system want to uphold those systemic.
Yeah, as long as they're
yeah.
lawfully
function.
abiding. I
And
agree.
And unfortunately-
two-thirds of them don't.
Yeah, 2/3 of them right now don't.
Evan,
And
I would
that's
say
the
yes,
problem.
but with limits, because if you systematically over time keep putting your own people into positions of power, eventually you can weaken those guardrails. And we are
Absolutely.
seeing that
Which is-
happen over 4 years.
we
I
have-
don't
40
think.
years? How about 40 years?
All right,
Yeah, I
guys,
don't think
guys,
we could
Yeah.
survive another 4 years.
Let's do this.
Oh,
Let's
God,
do this. I mean,
yeah.
I'm reading the chat, and there's a lot of people that would like us to move on. And I think
Yeah.
we're kind of in like a death spiral here because we're never. Let's do this. Everybody gets to make a one sentence final comment on this topic, and then we move on. All right, go
I
ahead,
made
Steve.
mine.
No, I think we actually are. We're all agreeing more than we're disagreeing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
but just
Of
give your
course.
final
I'm just
comment.
approaching. Yes, I'm just.
It's I mean, but I mean, hopefully we'll never get a definitive answer to the question of how far can you go, right? I mean, I think we all agree with that. Let's talk about COVID.
Wait, I would
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
I
have
would
a
like
subject.
I
Hey,
wanted a
let's
final
move.
comment.
Jay
All right,
wants
you
his
go,
final
Jay. You
comment.
clearly
Final
were setting
comment.
yourself
Go.
up, so say something.
No,
and then
I
we'll-
was
I already
trying
made
to-
mine,
I
so
was
you
trying
can
to
pa- you can
pivot, but
pass on
my
me.
final comment is Donald Trump has never, during his presidency, joked. He doesn't joke. This man has zero sense of
He's
humor.
pretty humorous.
Everything that he says is based on something. He wants something. He's doing something. There is no sarcasm and joking with this man.
And then he
So-
loves to say that was a joke after
Yes.
the fact
Yeah.
when
That's-
people call
yeah.
him on it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say one more thing about that because psychologists know well, Carrie, you know this. When people joke, there is what psychologists call a process level to that humor. They're when they joke, but they're saying something that reflects their inner thinking and feelings. So there's always a level of emotional reality, even to something that is purely meant for humor or sarcasm or whatever, which is why you should always sort of check yourself before you think
Yeah.
you could say something and get away with it because you're just joking. It's like, yeah, even if you are joking, it doesn't mean it doesn't reflect what you think or feel.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that speaks to that meme that I mentioned a few weeks ago on the show where that's been spreading around where when people call you out, like especially in light of, Black Lives Matter and people being a little bit more careful and sensitive, this meme that was going around that said something along the lines of, oh, everybody, you used to be so fun and funny and now you can't even take a joke. And the response was like, no, I used to just think things that were cruel were funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm just, now I'm just
Yeah.
not racist like I used to be. Like,
Well, I'll say
sorry.
one more thing. It's not a comment. It's kind of a question. What I hope. My question is: will we in the future take these norms that have been shattered beyond what we have thought they would ever be shattered? Will we take some of those norms and codify them and make them more of a law or something that you could be called out on instead of
hope
just
so.
a norm? Right. That's what I think should be done.
No, so
in the next term.
my hope is these last 4 years have been a stress test on our
Yes.
institutions, and we're going to say, okay, this is where all the weak points
Yes.
are. We need to shore up the laws so that these
Exactly.
weak points do not exist, so that one demagogue with a weak party behind them can't break
Yes.
all of these norms, as you say. So the checks and balances that were in place are sort of working, but not enough. And I think
Right.
they can be shored up based
could
upon
be-
this 4-year stress test that
Right.
we've had.
Yeah, that could be
It's
one of
not
the
a
few good
gentleman's
things
agreement
that
anymore.
come out
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
gentleman
Debacle.
agreement is gone. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Agree.
I think
And
a
I
lot
think
of people
sometimes
are shocked to find that it was just a gentleman's
A
agreement.
gentleman's
Like
agreement,
it's a
yeah.
wink and a nod and a handshake. That's the problem. It's like, really? That
All
there's
right.
not a
So
law
moving
about
away
that?
from we're moving away from politics. I have to tell you guys
Yeah.
that
Say it.
the hurricane that
Say
came
it.
through cost me about.
Lando.
Is he in my room?
Yeah, he's
Behind
right
you?
behind you.
Yeah, he's right there.
Lando. I love
So,
Lando.
The hurricane has cost
The hurricane.
cost me about $4,000.
Yes.
Um,
It's the worst
your
tree
insurance
luck
cover that?
ever.
I know I have a lot of big trees in my yard, and
You used to.
yeah, I know.
Or
Right?
at least you used to.
But there is a even worse tragedy. So you guys know I've been like, I got the stone wall thing I've been working on. I prepped the ground. I'm digging trenches for water. I got all this stone. I did 100% of all the prep work, and I was waiting for the weather to get cooler because it was debilitatingly hot in Connecticut this summer. So I'm like, I'll wait until late August,
We've
early
had hotter.
September to start putting the stones down, right? So the goddamn tree, I had to pay a guy, an amazing amount of money to take down. They totaled my stone wall foundation
Whoa.
because the tree was right there. So like the 15.
Oh, so they couldn't help it.
Yeah, it just all of the stuff that they cut fell right into the trench. And
Did it make a
totaled it.
noise?
I went outside. It was one of those things. I went outside. I'm like, okay, the guys took the tree down. I come out and I look, and I was just like, and I just turned around, went inside. I told Courtney, I'm
gosh.
like, it's over. The stone wall is over.
And Jay, it was actually technically a tropical storm. It wasn't even a full hurricane.
Oh my
Really?
god.
Yeah. But here's the other thing that happened recently that we should mention is that you know the guy behind the chat who's
Yes.
a voice
Oh,
in the
yeah.
background who's
Yes.
here and not
I
here.
think his
Oh,
name
Ian.
is
Ian,
right?
Ian is now a father as of 2 days ago.
Yep.
Yay!
And there was much
Yay.
rejoicing. Yay.
Why are you working right now, Ian?
I know. It's really, we all said that.
That's
I'm
right.
committed.
He's committed.
Oh
Should
yeah,
be
turn your
committed.
camera on and say that.
So
When
I
are we
think-
gonna get just a picture of Ian's baby as his icon when we do these Zoom chats?
So sweet.
You know,
I think
I could totally
sometime before the end
understand-
of this live stream, we will see a picture of that baby, right, Ian?
Possibly.
Really? Oh
That's
wow.
up to Ian. Don't cross
That's
the
up to
boundary of
Ian's
That'll be the
personal-
wife,
first
But
piece.
too.
I understand why Ian wanted the normalcy of doing some quote unquote work with us, right? Because this is having a baby is so unbelievably weird and and emotionally draining, good and bad, right? It's just this.
Well, and how about in the middle of a
telepathy
global
of-
pandemic?
What?
Yeah.
How about like in
But-
the weirdest time ever,
There
having a
aren't
baby.
20 people in the hospital waiting to see the kid. Yeah.
But coming back and sitting down for an hour and a half with us and doing a live stream makes things seem kind of normal, and I get that. But and I love that you're here with us, man. It's I didn't expect to hear from you for about a month, and it was only 3 days.
It's funny, Ian. We were chatting while everything was happening, and Ian and Katie, his wife, had that moment that we all had, all of us who are parents, not you, Kara. So at some point, like you have a new kid, you have your first kid, and there's a lot of logistical stuff you have to do. You have to feed it, you got to burp it, you got to do all this stuff. And
Gotta wake the
there
wife to
comes
take care
this
of it. Just
point
kidding.
within the first couple of days.
Just kidding. Don't yell at me.
You're not just kidding. There comes this point within the first couple of days where you run out of stuff to do. And then you're just sitting there looking at it, and you go, "Now what do we do? What do we do with it now?" Like,
Right,
what
because it
happens?
doesn't do anything.
Okay,
Right.
I know.
Eats,
It's
it
like
poops,
we
it
ran out of stuff to do. Now what
Eats.
happens?
Yeah.
But it also doesn't feel right to like start clicking back to normal life
Yeah.
because you have a new human being you're responsible for that's right over there. So I
Over that.
totally get that. That is that.
And the
is-
weirdest thing about babies is that, like, and I only know this from spending a lot of time, I'm at the age where a lot of my friends have babies right now, and like they'll die if you don't just watch them all the time. Like you can't just leave them. You have to constantly
Yeah.
be vigilant because they'll just die.
Oh, yeah.
From all sorts of
Babies,
things.
you got to feed every day.
They're not
Yeah.
like
Weird.
a full, like a baby horse gets up on its feet, it's walking around, everything's cool. Looks pretty much like a regular horse, it's just smaller. I mean, babies don't even look like full-grown human beings. They
No,
are
and if
another.
they,
Now
like,
you
roll
need
the
eyes
wrong
on
way.
until they're like 7. You need eyes on. Totally.
And for some, 12.
Even longer. No, like it's like that first moment when you're like the kid's in the other room and nobody knows what they're doing and nobody's like looking at them. Like, is that okay? Like that's like they're 6, 7 before that happens.
Funny.
That's where the robots in the house, they become nannies and stuff. They can
Depends
be
on-
kids
depends
for
on
you.
the
They can
kid.
be the eyes and ears.
Yeah.
It depends on the kid, but yeah, it's
And the
generally
parent, apparently.
true. Yeah.
I told Ian the day of he gave us like the text update, like we're here, it's happening, nothing's happened yet though. And I told him, and I was serious, Ian, just say the word, and I will cook meatballs and drive them to the hospital for you right now.
The
Yeah.
baby can't eat meatballs, Jay.
And then Ian's response was, "I don't eat meat, Jay," like which I knew, I've known, for a very long time, but I just was so excited.
I didn't say that. I said they need to be impossible.
Yeah, he wanted me to go
Oh,
out
right.
and impossible meat.
Well, he doesn't
Impossible
eat meat.
meatballs.
Yeah.
They make
Ian
those.
doesn't eat meat.
So, but that's Ian. That's why I brought it up, because my point was I'm going to try to make impossible meatballs and see if it works. See what happens.
They sell Impossible at Trader Joe's now.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
You
I
can
will
get it
report
as
back
like
to
a
everyone.
pack of meat.
Yeah. You can get Impossible ground beef now at Trader
That's
Joe's. Which is
cool.
pretty cool.
Oh, we got to
Yeah.
get that. My daughter's a
Yeah.
vegetarian, but she'll still eat Jay's meatballs.
Yeah.
Well,
No
yeah,
way,
Try 'em
really?
with Impossible.
Well, I mean, Bob,
Yeah,
when
we
you're
should
addicted,
do
you're
Impossible
in a
meatballs.
man's life, there are certain achievements that happen. I can say, imagine any person's life, but in my life in particular, my bonding, love, and then mastery of meatballs is an achievement, and I own it and wear
Mhm.
it. Okay.
It's good to have one dish that you master. Doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
Just pick one dish in your life that you like, that's maybe takes a little bit of investment to cook, some little bit of skill, and just cook it all the time until you memorize it and tweak it and own it and master that recipe. It's a good thing to have, in your
Nice.
bag of tricks.
Absolutely. I
I'm-
know. I mean, somebody asked, Kara, I'm sorry. Somebody asked, what
That's
are
okay.
Impossible meatballs? It's the
impossible.
Impossible Burger is a plant-based meat substitute that actually has, what's the stuff, Kara?
Leg hemoglobin.
Heme,
Yes.
hemoglobin, heme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leg,
So it has-
leg hemoglobin from soy, but they actually now genetically modify it from yeast because the yield wasn't high enough from soy,
Yeah.
and so it's the stuff that makes blood taste bloody, and because of that, but it's completely from plants. But because of that, it's pink in the middle. It gives you the real meat texture. It's mostly, I think, potato starch and wheat.
Yeah.
So it's not gluten free.
It tastes a little potatoey to me.
Yeah, it's got a lot of potato starch.
Yeah,
But
I
but
suppose
it does work.
But it's amazing.
Impossible Burgers are not nasty at all. They're actually really good.
No, it's not
now.
a black bean burger. It's
No,
not like
it's
a
not that.
fake.
Yeah, I've had
meat.
I've had the Burger King Impossible Whopper, and I wouldn't have known if you
Yeah.
didn't tell me. Steve, does it count if I could cook the shit out of like a BJ's frozen lasagna? I know
No.
exactly what the temperature is on the oven. I could even cut it in half if there's only a couple of us and put. I mean, I'm really good at cooking that. Does that count? Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely
No.
not, Bob.
No.
I mean,
Can I
eat
tell
it.
you guys?
Yeah.
Can I tell you guys about the amazing meal that we made today
Sure.
here in Scotland?
Sure.
It was out of control. I had
Was it
2 full
haggis?
plates, which
It
never
was
happens.
haggis, wasn't it?
It was not haggis. I don't like haggis. It was like probably one of the best pork loin pot roasts that I've
yeah.
ever made, with green beans with bacon, my go-to sweet potato casserole, and Yorkshire puddings from scratch.
Wow.
From scratch.
Yeah, they were
We
so
had
good.
that when we were in England. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was
sounds
proud.
awesome.
And
So-
I had too much.
We had so much fun in our UK Scotland trip.
Oh,
It was so
yeah.
much fun.
And
We still get
What a-
emails from people telling just
We just
today.
got one,
Today
yeah.
we got one.
I'll
I
never
saw you at
forget.
Cambridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
Cambridge
Remember
was
when,
awesome.
remember when I got to the hotel, which was like a 10-person hotel room, in where
Yes.
were we?
Oh, in Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. And I
Edinburgh.
walk in like,
Yeah.
Bob, there's your room. So we went to the room, and they seemed a little excited about my room. Like, what's the big deal? It's a nice room. I wake up, and right out the window is an ancient cemetery. That was just like what the best view I could ever
And
imagine.
David
And then-
Hume's grave was there.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the next
We saw
day,
it.
Cool.
Liz and I like went to that cemetery and like we got to
Yeah.
check this out, and it was awesome.
Oh
was-
yes,
it was- yeah.
we went on a
Those rooms
cemetery
were
tour.
huge.
Ancient
remember
old
that.
cemeteries are
Freaking
cool.
huge.
I was in the basement kind of the hotel, and George's room was next to mine, and we both went into our rooms, and then we came out in the hall and we're like jumping up and down. We were like, this is the nicest hotel we've ever stayed in. Oh, those rooms were amazing.
That was the best
That-
hotel of the trip. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
yeah, because the
Yeah, that
very
was
next
cool.
one, do you guys remember my
Oh, I remember.
Closet.
Remember that
shower?
Harry Potter cupboard under the stairs they tried to
Yeah.
stuff you into, Karen? Oh, I mean, yes, that is what the room was like.
Yeah, that was small.
You
Yeah, like
couldn't
you-
open
you-
the shower door, right? It
Like you
was-
could, yeah,
it
you
was
couldn't
bumping
open the
into
shower door and the room door at the same time.
Nope.
Right? They would
was
bump into
bad.
each other. So
It
I
was
thought that-
closet.
Yeah,
I
when
love
your,
traveling.
when your bed touches 3 walls at once, that's some trouble.
Yeah, they
And it
call. You know what they
actually
call
did
that in
That's not an
America?
exaggeration.
You know what they call that in America? A cell.
Yeah, it was a cell.
It was
Evan.
a cell.
Wow. Yeah.
And I remember you called me, or I don't know if you called all of us or texted us and said, "Guys, you have to come see this."
yeah.
We all came running to the room.
And I had to ensure Kara that was not the picture they showed us when we booked your room. That was not the room they showed us.
Poor Kara.
We did not book you in that room, Kara.
So,
funny.
guys, I wanna
wanna see if
ask
I can
you-
find the photo.
You know,
Uh-huh.
we've had
Sneeze.
the pleasure and luck and honor to travel to some exquisite places, and you know, I love traveling. I was going to go to Spain this year, but you know, COVID completely took that away from me. I'm not bitter. But I will travel again. But
We
where
were going to
is
go to
it-
Malaysia. We canceled the trip to Malaysia.
I know, Steve.
That
But
sucks.
where do you want to?
Who, what?
Just name one place that you haven't been that you really want to go to.
Antarctica.
The moon.
Africa.
Evan,
Oh, yeah, Steve, you gotta
Middle East, Israel specifically.
Ooh.
I want to go to Japan.
Yeah,
What
that'd
about
be
you,
cool.
Bob?
I would go to
Other than-
Japan.
Japan's
the moon.
good. I haven't been in Italy since '94. I want to go back to Italia.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Italy. I just
Ooh,
would
I've been
go
to Italy
back to every
twice.
few years.
Two
I
of the
had the
best
money.
trips I ever had. Oh my gosh.
Spice.
Best trips ever.
Spice. I want to go to Spice.
We'd love to come
Yeah.
back to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. It's over there near
Edinburgh was
and,
our favorite city on the trip, right, guys?
Yeah.
That was such a
Oh, as the
gorgeous.
city goes,
Well,
sure.
It was
I mean,
magical. It was
London was
magical.
Like
fine.
vampires live there. That's how cool the architecture is.
Yeah, that's why I have these.
Although Cambridge was storybook. I mean,
Yes,
like I
that
expected to
was.
see like
Oh my
fairies
gosh,
and
that's-
trolls. And
We
stuff.
walked
It
on the
was-
cobbles of Cambridge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it
was
really
wonderful
beautiful,
as well.
really, really
Wonderful.
And
And
I'll
London's
tell
London, you know.
you,
Yeah,
London is a beautiful city because the streets are wide and there are trees everywhere. Like New York, I love New York City, but New York City, you are in a concrete
Jungle.
structure,
Jungle.
right? But in London, you feel it's open.
Yeah,
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
yeah. It's a world class city. It was great.
Evan, can you please tell us what is over your left shoulder?
Which shoulder's my left shoulder? This is my left.
Yes.
It's up reversed, and you got to do the thing. All right. So what do we have? What do we have here? This is what we're looking at
Well,
here.
when you shine a light on it, we actually can't see it because
No, but it brings your attention to exactly what it is we're talking about.
The area
So-
of the wall. Yes.
Evan shines a light. Nobody can see what the hell.
All right. Hey, what's this, everyone? Oh, turn it off. It's off.
Evan, shine it at your camera. Let's see what happens.
You want?
Even worse.
Zapped out. It's a constellation, yes, and there were lots of guesses, and yes, I don't even know how tons of people guessed correctly. Well done, everyone. That is the constellation. How do you now? There's two ways to
Ophiuchus.
pronounce it. Ophiuchus.
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 Yeah,
both
I've heard
are-
those two. I've heard those two.
but
Yep,
I prefer Ophiuchus
Me too.
because it's
but-
correct.
Okay, so I have a couple things to say about this, and then you can ask, questions or whatever else you want to talk to about this. So
I
this
got it on my
is
third try.
I took you look okay, easy, right? I will Google the star map of Ophiuchus, right? Easy, that comes up easy. No, you get 100,000 different images of different lines and different things. There's no like standard as to what the heck he is. Is he holding the snake? Is he not holding the snake? Is part of him holding? There's a snake. There's another constellation that wraps around him, the serpent. So they I see 100 different drawings on how the lines go. However, I did take this one from the International Astronomical Union. This is their arrangement.
What do
So
they mean?
I'll take that as official as anything, which is why there were some comments about people saying, I think some stars are missing, or the lines are different, or they're posting a picture and it looks like this, not like that. But that is Ophiuchus. And yes, so many people got it right. I'm very proud of all of you. Now, okay, Steve, what were we talking about earlier with Ophiuchus?
Yeah. Well, I asked, is it? I mean, obviously, it's a constellation. Is it a zodiac? And that
Yes,
and Evan's answer was. So I was like, okay,
Depends on who
it's
you speak
Ophiuchus because that's the 13th, zodiac.
Yeah, in quotes, it's the 13th sign of the
Yeah.
zodiac. If you ask an astrologer, they will tell you no, because that screws up their world too much. But if you ask, people, does this constellation lie on the ecliptic with the other ones? Yes, absolutely it does. So
There you go.
technically it is, but is it recognized by the pseudoscience astrology? No, it's not. Or it's mixed. It's mixed, but they're hesitant to mess up all their star charts with this.
Yeah,
I think it looks like SpongeBob a little bit.
a little bit.
It does. Yeah.
It's the SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah.
If that were a constellation named now, it would be the constellation of SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Right, he would have like what, eyes
Or-
here or something, and the big tongue and the nose.
Or the headless,
right?
headless
Do the buck
robot.
teeth, Evan. Buck teeth.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then don't forget his name is SquarePants.
got the teeth here.
Oh, and the square pants. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Although it looks a little bit penguinal.
Penguin.
Oh yes, there were some guesses. Like, is that supposed to be the representation of a penguin?
Penguin.
What was it? Penguin? Is that how he said it?
Yeah, that was
Penguin?
hilarious.
So did any of you guys notice that
Penguin.
this is the first time that I'm not wearing a solid black T-shirt?
It's only mostly black.
I know I have our
Right.
extravaganza T-shirt on. Somebody, a few people have mentioned either in email or in the chat that they notice I only wear black T-shirts, and that is mostly true. Black T-shirts are my uniform,
Mhm.
and that's it. And I wore
Same.
this shirt for people that wanted to see me wear something other than a solid black.
Awesome.
That is
Jay,
a black T-shirt, though, Jay.
It is, but it isn't solid. I mean, I'm
Slightly less black.
Yes.
I'm similar, Jay. I only wear cool T-shirts. Who can recognize this one?
Is that the one that says "I am awesome"? I love that
Oh, no.
T-shirt.
Steve said I can't wear that anymore.
the unholy masquerade.
Oh, Wellington
In public.
Vampire Society.
Well.
Oh, is that from What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah.
The unholy.
yes.
Oh yeah.
I love
Did you
that.
guys remember when we were there in New Zealand, and one of the women at, I think, Jacinda, a really cool chick named Jacinda, was telling us at a dinner table about how they were planning on making a spin-off with Rhys Darby, who, if you guys remember from Flight of the Conchords, plays the manager.
Yeah.
What's his name in Flight of the Conchords? The manager's name? Why am I blanking?
Oh yeah.
I'll probably see a million people type it in a second. But anyway, she was saying they're going to do a spin-off and they're going to call it We Are Wolves. Get it? Because we are wolves. And I was like, that doesn't work with our accent. Like, it only works with your accent.
So, guys, before he runs away, this is Lando.
Like
Lando!
Let's go.
Start singing to me, Lando.
Lando, his best friend is Steve's dog, Sagan, and one of his favorite humans is Bob, because Bob will let him jump all over him.
He's awesome. Lando's awesome.
Yeah, I recently was having a discussion with someone about dogs, saying that dogs, they're special creatures to humans, right? There is something special about them. Their personality, just the way that they operate, I think augments us. I think it's like an incredible relationship. We're lucky that we can have.
40,000 years side by side companions.
Yeah, I think dogs are special. I mean, I love my cat, but like you don't get like that insane level of love and affection from a cat. At least the cats that I've owned in my life.
Well, is a dog more trainable than a cat? I would assume that's correct, but I don't know if that's technically
no,
correct.
it is. Remember, dogs have a lot more neuronal density than cats do,
Okay.
and that all of that processing power is probably all socialization with humans.
Yeah.
They start off as a
Pepe.
social species, but
Did you guys see in the chat, Pepe's cat passed away yesterday, and it
Yeah,
was named
I
Saber
saw
for
that.
lightsaber.
No.
Sorry, Pepe.
No, that is
Tough.
sad. Heart and love go
somebody
out to you.
said-
Thinking of Saber.
Somebody
Saber.
said, look up the emotional support alligator. And the
Oh,
funny
no.
thing is, I'm not sure if they're joking or not.
Jay, someone asked about a Nexus T-shirt.
Yeah, it's incredible that whoever that was brought that up, because
It was Ian.
I just talked to Kernan, our basically the SGU's art director. He's helped me do everything that we're using now for all of the different brands that I manage.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Shut
So
up,
we-
Siri.
Please repeat that.
What we're going to do is we're going to make
Rude.
the 2020
Siri.
T-shirt the actual the error screen, right? We had like Kernan made a graphic for us.
Oh, nice.
that if we had technical difficulties, we would show this thing. And what it is, it's two dragons basically attacking the city. Because
The Nexus
Oh
logo.
yeah.
we have a cityscape in the logo. And people love it. I mean, I love
That was the technical issues. Please stand by. Logo,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. The error message.
So Kernan, I've already talked to Kernan. He's going to make me a T-shirt worthy graphic that I will put up on the SGU. We use Printful for our fulfillment now. So because I have drawn a line in the sand, I do not mail people things anymore, and I will never do that again. That is a nightmare for me. But anyway, I say that to remind Steve not to ask me to do that. So yeah, they'll be up probably within a week or two. I'll have that up there. We'll announce it on the show.
Yay. Printful is a lifesaver.
Yep.
Love it.
Should we take questions?
Well, we have a quiz. We could
Let's
do
do
a
a
quiz
quiz then. Then let's do a quiz.
What about talking about my desk?
We have to do that as well.
Talk about Bob's
Brooms.
desk.
All right, let's do the quiz.
Okay, so a few years ago, when I was obsessed with witches, I made like 10 witch
Yeah,
brooms.
like that stopped.
No, I haven't made it any since then.
No, I mean the obsession.
Oh well, yeah. Well, okay. So these are. I made most of these brooms. It was a really fun process. A little bit even more difficult than I thought. So one of my favorites. This one, I bought this one. This one was one of my favorites because the end is just such a whimsical shape. I loved it. I bought 4 of these. They came in black, and I dry brushed it to make it look like wood because whoever made this did a fantastic job of putting wood grain and to make it really look like wood. So I was really happy with the results. But this one here is one of my favorites. I went with a red color because I put feathers in it. I thought it looked pretty cool. Let's see. Liz was a good white witch for the party, so I made her a white broom. And that was a lot of fun to make. But for a while there, for like months, I was just like walking around looking for really awesome sticks or pieces of wood that I could use. So I found this one in Maine. I found this one at a garden store. So it was just a really fun process. And then adding little doodads here to make them a little bit more ornate. Like this one over there, I added all those jangly things. The difficult thing about brooms, if you want a full broom with a really full bottom to it, like this guy right here, it's really hard because the more of this broom material that you add, the harder it's going to be to attach it to a piece of wood. So it's really difficult to do that. I bought a broom at a hardware store and took it apart, and I realized that the broom, a lot of the broom that you see on the bottom doesn't even attach to the bottom of the stick. A lot of it is attached inside, so that they could have a lot of that what's it called?
Interesting.
Broom corn. So yeah, so it's kind of difficult. But to tie it off, I would use a pipe clamp. Put a pipe clamp around it, make it super tight, and then wrap something else around it so it looks good. But it's got to be super, super tight. So it's just a fun little hobby project, and I made a shit ton of brooms, and it was just a fun thing that now I got a lot of brooms hanging around in my basement. Now on my desk.
But do you use them in your haunts?
His usual haunts.
I brought a couple to the haunt. I didn't want to bring a lot because
Thanks,
I didn't want them to get ruined. Stuff gets ruined when you bring it to the haunt.
Let's.
But what are you going to do with old brooms, Bob?
The next time I decorate, well, here you go. Look it. I just used them today on my desk.
Ian, are you going to operate the game?
Sorry, yeah. So I sent the link for the SGU country in the chat. So
I saw that.
For everyone else, you go into the pinned comments, whether on YouTube or Facebook, for darkenergy.games. We're going to let everybody connect there, which they should be doing currently. And then I'll synchronize it, and then I'll start. And then, Jay, if you want to read them.
Okay, no problem. I'm ready when you are.
So let's just let everybody join. We only have 77 people in there now, so we'll give it some time for more people to get there.
Yeah, let's give a minute.
Now's the time to join. Why don't you just, what is that link again, Ian?
Darkenergy.games. I will post it again. It's also pinned. It should be for everybody.
Hey, Bob, the word is besom, B-E-S-O-M, a broom made of twigs tied around a stick.
No way.
I wasn't aware of that term. But there's another.
And-
I think it's broom corn. I think was a term I came across.
I'm
Let me
also
look it
looking
up.
up what a broom maker is called. You know how a Cooper is
broom right?
A witcher.
Not finding
Bob.
an immediate
Yeah.
answer.
Being
A broomery?
Broomhilda.
in Christmas
Sure.
season,
Oh.
holiday season at Trader Joe's, they have cinnamon brooms.
Oh yes. I mean, oh, yeah. Those. Yeah. That's the.
Like potpourri kind of thing.
It's
Yeah,
like
they're
this,
like
it's like this big.
Brooms.
It's like this big, and it's
Broomologist.
It's got a super
Yeah.
cinnamon smell. Oh, that's what
Yeah.
most. See what you're looking here. This is that. That is
Nice.
that. This is that. I mean, I bought like 15 of those. Man, that was my
They're the
bread and
best.
butter. That was my bread and
Heck
butter.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
These are
Ian,
different.
what do you
though.
say?
Oh God.
Let's see. We have 306 people, so that's cool.
All right, let's do
We
it.
want just let people keep
300.
going. Okay, and we'll let them still get in because we'll synchronize right now. So when
Somebody.
I say click, everybody's going to click that button. Synchronize, I believe.
I don't do
for everybody,
clicks.
right? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so here we go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, click.
I am 0 seconds behind the live stream.
Same.
Too. Yeah.
Very good.
Big 0.
Somebody said,
That's-
"Okay, Broomer." That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Boomer.
Boomer, and broomologist. I did think of that as well. That was a funny one.
Ooh, that should be on Allie's podcast.
Sweep Smith. That was Bert from Mary Poppins.
That's right, Kevin.
Mary Poppins. Awful.
All right, so the quiz today has a theme. The theme is the human body.
Ooh,
Yes.
I like bodies.
I like humans.
Sort of like humans, yeah. Some of them are okay.
Some are good.
Steve, what is the
Others,
grossest part of the human body, according to you?
gross anatomy.
I was never a big fan of phlegm.
What about tonsil
but-
stones?
Lung
those
clams.
are just downright.
Lung
Right.
clams. Yes, thank you. Use the technical term at least.
What about excrement? Hello.
I was thinking more of like when he did his like semester dissection of a corpse, like what part was like, bleh, you know?
I mean, no one part of the anatomy is any more gross than any other part of the anatomy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I guess
let's do this.
Some
The
people can't deal with
creepiest-
eyes.
the
Like
the
looking at
creepiest
the
thing
eye.
to work on is the eye. Like doing
What
surgery or
diseased
anything.
part
on
of the anatomy is the grossest?
Well,
What?
What
The elbow.
diseased part of the grossest?
Oh shit, Kara, that's a hard question. Oh my god, I don't even want to think about that.
Is it like
least.
a liver with cirrhosis or like lungs with a bunch of tumors? Like what? At what point is it like super gross pathologically?
Yeah.
Necrotic tissue.
Gallstones? Gallstones are kind of cool.
You know that disease that eats your flesh away is pretty bad. That can be considered.
Necrotizing fasciitis.
Right, probably gangrene is pretty gross.
Gangrene's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it
smells.
smells. Yeah.
All right, let's do the
It's
quiz.
a fun conversation.
I'm ready. It
Okay.
says
All right.
the game will start automatically.
So if anybody's not in this far, they can still join, but I think it'll be super delayed. All right, here we go. And start game. Go ahead, Jay.
All right, what
All right,
is the
human body.
largest internal organ of the
Ah.
human body?
Internal, huh?
What is
Okay.
the
Internal.
largest internal organ of the
Internal.
human body?
Internal.
Think about it. It's on the inside.
Well, that's not my germ cloud, that's for sure.
Not the skin, because that's kind of on the outside.
What is the
The
largest?
subcutaneous layer
in general.
of skin.
Everything is in general with this, okay?
In general.
In the-
Of
Not
these
like
four
everybody's-
of these four choices.
It's the liver.
Yeah.
That's where the
liver is
pearl. That's where the
very big.
pearl is.
Now, even though you have two kidneys, they don't even come close to the size of the liver.
Yeah, liver's
The
kind of
liver's
big.
huge.
Liver's-
Yeah.
Then why, when I clicked the liver, does it say you chose the wrong answer? The right answer was the kidneys.
That's impossible.
That's
That
wrong.
did not
Oh,
happen.
and look up
My
liver
screen-
shot. Look up MMA liver shots on YouTube someday. It's cringeworthy.
I
but
put liver
cool.
and it said the kidneys was the right answer. Was that coded
I will
wrong?
tell Frank if that actually is the truth. I'll tell him.
Yeah,
How many
it's actually
times
the
does the
truth.
heart circulate the body's blood supply per day?
Wait, now.
The bottom number doesn't exist.
What is that?
1,2000.
That should
Yeah,
be
that comes in the
12,000.
wrong place.
Yeah,
12,000.
that should be 12,000.
Oh my
Sorry, That's my
gosh.
fault. That's a data entry error. That's all it is.
Fine. I'll go.
1,000 times. Your whole body, your heart moves your blood, all of your blood, through the entire system 1,000 times in a 24-hour period.
If you're functioning correctly.
Yeah. The next question is, generally speaking, how long is food in your stomach after you eat? How long is food
Does it depend on the
actually
food?
in your stomach?
Jay's meatballs.
Gum is in there for 11 years. Remember they used to say that?
7 years.
7 years?
I like food in my belly. In my belly.
I'll say that.
How long
I
is
don't-
food in your stomach after you eat it, guys?
I don't know if this is right. Tis a guess. It is.
I've
The
heard this
answer
number for years. It better be right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 to 4. So it will be in your stomach and small intestine. After 4 hours, it's pretty much left your small intestine.
But that gum you swallowed will last 7 years. False.
We said that joke, Evan.
Oh,
keep
who
up.
did?
Yeah.
The human nose can distinguish how many different odors?
Oh.
How many different odors can your nose
Odors.
distinguish? Mostly, we probably only smell a couple of hundred that are common.
This was a news item like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, 2014 to be exact, Steve.
Okay,
Really?
pretty good guess.
Look, what do you think, guys? Here comes the answer.
Yeah, I'll get it
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh my
Keep you
God!
apprised. Whoa, no bullshit.
I remember that from the news item.
Hey Bob, what can I tell
That,
you?
that's
A
that's
trillion?
that's one of the smells, Bob.
Bob, it's called science. Look it up.
So how about a dog? What can a dog do? A quadrillion, a quintillion, a sextillion?
That's not what this question is about.
I know.
They're just more sensitive.
That's it. Those are the questions.
4 quick questions.
True.
So we're going to give a little bit, right, Ian? We'll wait a little bit for people to finish up the quiz because there's people that are
trillion.
probably at least 30 seconds.
I don't
behind.
remember it being a trillion. I put
I
down
do.
a billion.
So,
of course you
but
do, Steve. You did the news.
So let me tell you a little bit about what I
How do
learned
they
about
test that?
those. So you have 400 different smell receptors in your nasal cavity. That now think about it, Bob. 400 different receptors that all can be tweaked to different degrees. It's
Right.
not even that the 400 can be combined. It's that there's degrees as well.
Right.
But the thing is, the researchers, as of 2014, because that was the latest I can find, said that they're not even sure exactly how the receptors correlate to the number of smells. But they did come up with a formula to get there, because they were able to say, like, they were able to make very tiny changes to all these different base smells that they added in. And they figured out like how much of a molecular change or how much of a certain thing would have to be added in order for you to detect it. And by that, they were able to extrapolate that, yep, it's going to be about 1 trillion.
Wow.
Yeah. That's cool. Have you ever asked or thought about the idea of, like we have bananas and watermelon and oranges and all these different, fruits and vegetables and flavors and all this stuff. But how many flavors can we taste that we don't even know of, because we've never, like the fruit and vegetable that we have, we're selectively bred, right? Somebody said, oh, I like this. And and eventually they selectively bred it and it turned into hundreds of different varieties of apples, right? But is there
I like apples.
thousands of other fruit flavors that could have potentially existed that we don't know about, right?
Hey, Evan, how
So
do you like them
the weird
apples?
berry?
Thank you.
Has anybody taken the berry or like eaten that thing that changes?
Yes,
the
I
way
did.
Yes.
It's
That was
amazing.
fascinating.
And did the stuff that you tasted taste like anything? I've never.
So, guys, we won.
Oh, let me see the results up.
Yeah.
All right, let's go
You
through
froze
this. So
there, Kara.
Yeah,
SGU,
sorry,
know.
Kara.
It's okay.
It's the storm you're having in Scotland.
SGU got 62.5. Oh my God, how do you pronounce that? That
Tuvalu?
Tuvalu?
Tuvalu.
Tuvalu?
I like it. Tuvalu sounds better to me.
I hate that I can't pronounce things. I hate it.
Jay, I mean,
Are you kidding? That's
we never saw it
gold.
before. It's-
Comic gold, man. Don't stop mispronouncing things.
All right, let's see who lost. All right, we had a lot of countries that got 0. Oh my God. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing because
I'm just laughing at
funny.
you. Yeah.
I love looking at all the different different countries.
Maybe it's just the.
All right, let's see. I want to see if Scotland.
Wow, a
is
lot of people
there.
thought the lungs were large. Just
I'm not seeing
deceptive.
Scotland on here.
Scotland.
Well, I told you guys. Well, first of all, Scotland is probably included under UK.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, because when I logged in, it just said UK. It doesn't divide it by
Okay.
the British states.
Well, good job this week, guys. Any of you, for fun, like want to throw at me a like a category for the next quiz? Yeah, I'm going to start moving through different categories. I'm also going to start mixing in some non-science related questions. So any feedback would be much appreciated. So let's take a question.
Questions.
Actually, we only have one right now, but it's when we get to questions. Skeptibrarian was wondering if Kara has done the Shibori Adults and Crafts kit yet.
Oh, the adults and crafts. No, we heard about that.
Yeah.
I haven't done it. Is it Kara? Have you?
Yeah,
done
I
that?
love it.
Yeah.
I get it every month. Can you guys hear me? It says the
Yeah, we
internet.
can hear you now.
We're hearing you, but not.
Okay.
Yeah, but your video had frozen,
Not great.
but it's back now.
No, I'm kidding. That was, I
What Kara would tell you right now is that
Right.
she loves it. Absolutely loves it.
Shibori is waiting for me when I get home, by the way. So I will do it when I get home, and I'll post pictures on Instagram.
If you have a question, now is the time to ask it.
Somebody asked me what I was doing with my robot hand. This is the robot hand I have
Don't ask.
by my desk in case I drop my phone, which happened. I dropped the phone. I bend down. I pick it up. It's an awesome tool. Everybody should have one by their desk.
Bob also wears a medical bracelet by which, if he loses one of his hands, they're going to implant that into the space where his hand used to be.
It could do worse.
There's a
Somebody
question in the
asked-
chat.
Go ahead.
You have it. It's a question about the piece on Radiolab connecting vitamin D deficiency with more serious cases of COVID. Any weight to that claim?
I heard about that.
Yeah, I've heard
So
about it.
there's definitely a connection between vitamin D and the immune system. And like, for example, a number of years ago, they connected vitamin D deficiency and an increased risk of autoimmune diseases, specifically multiple sclerosis, which is how I know about it. So it's plausible that there's a connection between vitamin D and like a deficiency and the immune component of COVID, which is why they looked at it. But I mean, I haven't seen the data for myself. I don't know how solid or what the effect size is, but that's very plausible that there's a connection there. That's why, we started looking for vitamin D deficiency more routinely. Like, you'll probably get screened for it by your primary care doctor, whereas 15 years ago or whatever, they didn't. And, we've sort of lowered the threshold for treating it. So we're treating more insufficiency. Like, you're not technically low, but you're on the low end. So you might as well get it up to, more within the middle of the normal range. Because it's not really clear if like vitamin D insufficiency is related to a higher risk of certain diseases, especially involving the immune system.
And
Uh-oh, Kara.
hear me?
Yeah.
Heard
Yeah,
that.
it's cutting in and out.
Yeah, you just dipped
Oh,
out.
shit. Okay. I think it's probably important to note that it's pretty spurious to try and link any vitamin that's being studied and
Uh-oh.
white individuals.
We didn't get that, Kara.
I'm going to try one more time, and then I'm going to dump out if you guys can't hear me.
Yeah,
That's
go ahead,
fine.
try again.
I was saying spurious connect.
Oh my God. right when she talks.
I'm gonna type it in the chat.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, Kara,
Okay.
it's like somebody's got a internet on and off button, and they're pressing it just to mess with you.
Yeah. Kara, I would say yes.
But
You might try shutting the video off, Kara, and then just saying it that way.
Yeah,
Maybe
good
the
call.
upload.
Good call. And I also just chatted it.
Okay.
So can
Thanks,
somebody
Kara.
read what I just chatted, or can you guys hear me?
is it scrolling through too quickly?
I didn't see it. Yeah, I must.
It's a
have come-
spurious
Oh, you-
connection
in
to
the
try to
Zoom.
link vitamin D deficiency and black-white differences.
Okay. Somebody wants to know if KiwiCo
There
is worth getting for a 18-month-old, and they do have the Panda crate, which is 0 to 24. I haven't seen any of the Panda crates because they send me the ones that are in my children's age range. But overall, KiwiCo has been awesome. Like their stuff is really cool. It's like an instant project that you could do with your kids. I don't know if a 0 to 24-month-old would be able to do a quote unquote project. So I'm sure they just have things that attract.
It's, there's
the kids and
age appropriate things to do at
Yeah.
that age, but yeah, none of us saw the ones at that age range because we didn't have kids that age.
Right,
when
we
were
didn't have-
looking
I
at it.
think I saw one for babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like maybe it was year old.
Yeah, so I'm looking
Yeah, they're
at a
pretty.
picture of it now. Like, it's like blocks and colored things.
Yeah, and you
all
like
that.
stick the felt on. It's like sticky felt, and you design things, that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like coloring.
Cool.
All right. If we don't have any other questions,
I think a pile of them
did we?
came in, right? Didn't they,
You
Ian?
got any-
Yeah, there were a bunch, specifically asking Kara, of course, to talk about the retracted 5G article, and hopefully we'll hear.
Oh, we
this.
did that on the show.
Oh, so listen to the show. See. Do you think we'll reach a point where the effects of lockdowns become worse than the virus, and we are forced to get on with life as best we can?
So it's a complicated question because the unstated major premise of that question is
No
that
vaccine.
there's this binary choice between locking down and the pandemic itself. The problem is that people are not going to engage in the economy if they think that they're going to die as a result, or that they're going to be putting their family at risk. And so I don't think we're going to be able to fully open up until people feel confident that the pandemic is under control.
I think the vaccination will go a long way in helping.
I think it's going
move
to be
that
dependent
along.
on the vaccination at this point.
Well,
to
right,
be honest
whichever
with
one
you.
turns out to be a good, effective one.
I think if we try to make that bargain, saying, well, it's just too high a cost to lock down, so let's just suck up the consequences. I think, in the U.S., we know what that means, and it's not pretty, and people ultimately are not going to accept that. So I think it's kind of a false choice there. But having said that, there are significant negative consequences to shutting down. Absolutely. Nobody denies that. But if you don't do it properly and you just, drag on the epidemic, then it just makes it all worse. You're not sparing yourself anything. You're just making it worse, actually. At least that's what it seems like so far.
So I got a lot of emails from people asking how can they see Nexus, and so you could still buy a registration for Nexus. We have it up. It's still fully accessible online. And then what'll happen is when we shut it off, because basically I'm just going to leave it up there until
People stop
registering, right?
Mhm.
And then what we'll do is we will go in and pick some of the segments that we will make public, but I don't think we're going to make the entire conference public. We really have to have an internal discussion about that. But you could still get it and see the whole thing. And I highly recommend, of course, that you watch our keynote talk with Andrian because
It's awesome.
It was beautiful.
And I think we have plans to do a rebroadcast, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we talked
theoretically.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really fun idea that we came up with where we want to rebroadcast the entire conference in pieces, but then we would comment on it. Like
We would be
SGU
live.
sit there in a
Yeah.
live chat with you guys, watch one or two talks, and just chit chat the whole time as it's going. which I
Oh,
think
I'd
would be a
love
ton of fun.
that.
Yeah, a
Right,
little,
Kara?
Yeah, because then I can be more
direct-
involved.
Yeah, because
little
we missed a lot of the
cast
talks 'cause we were
commentary.
busy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, there were other talks. Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Wow.
It was like the mid.
That's whatever you were talking about for you.
Well, no, we understand the sentiment.
Yes.
We know where you're going with that. Damn internet in Scotland.
All
It's the
right,
storm.
so
I wanted to bring one thing up, Jay.
Yeah.
okay, Evan, it's your go ahead.
Yes,
You have
thank
the
you,
floor.
thank you, thank you. I did want to mention that it was 13 years ago tomorrow that we lost our dear friend and fellow rogue Perry DeAngelis, and I wanted to bring attention to that, as I kind of like to do in my own way each year. I put up his picture on my Facebook page. It's how I pay my little homage to him.
I thought it was the 19th.
God.
And I had a dream the other night, and this happens to me about twice a year. I have this dream. There he is, as he was, like just walked in the room and started saying, "Hey, like, what's been going on?" Like, okay, 13 years of history with Perry. For not even like, why is this happening, or am I in a dream or something? I'm trying to figure out how to have an interaction and talk to this person.
Yeah.
Not even kind of realizing that this really isn't happening. It's so strange, but
It is.
I guarantee you at least twice a year.
I get those dreams too, like where I'm basically talking to him about the fact that he's dead, you know? And it's,
it's
the contradiction
surreal.
doesn't trigger your dreaming brain, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay, this is normal somehow.
Yeah.
But it's anything but.
All right.
And I
Harry's
wake
one
up
of those people where
confused.
you know, like a lot of people, you know someone, you get to know them really well, and Perry had a very strong, opinionated type personality, and like the thing that really makes me sad, other than the fact that we can't, you know, we don't have Perry anymore, is that I don't know what he would be thinking about all of the crazy shit that's been going on.
Yeah.
I'm dying to know what Perry's perception would be on all of this, everything, everything that we've endured the last.
Oh
couple
my
of
gosh,
years.
13 years of it. I mean, that's,
But Ev, the last couple of
much.
years in particular have been, you know, this wacky shit. And Perry would have had so many funny ass things to say, like, "Oh God, yeah, I know, I'm there." I want to know what my dad would have thought about this pandemic. I would love to have.
And that's the other person I have the same dream with. It's Perry and my father.
Yeah.
Twice a year, I'll have that dream. My father will suddenly show up. My dad's been gone 20 years. It's like, "Hey, Dad, where you been?" Strange.
Appreciate the people you have, guys. Everybody, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like last week or 2 weeks ago, I told everyone, do something nice for somebody. We've got to try so hard to make the world better. Everybody's suffering. The pandemic is kicking the shit out of everybody, and we just do nice things for people, help them do something, you know, lift a heavy thing for some, you know, whatever, just do something to make the world a better place. We can do it. The world is good and bad because of people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Other than calamities and fucking almost hurricanes costing me thousands of dollars, you know, 99%
Acts of God.
my, right. But 99% of happiness and sadness, I think, is derived from other people in your life.
You know, that's funny you mentioned that. I totally agree. And I always think about that when I'm reading fiction or seeing fiction that depicts other worlds. I think that Game of Thrones, one of the things I found fascinating about that show was that the characters in that world bought into this idea that the world is just a brutal place. Mm-hmm. And of course, we have enough of a perspective coming from a different world. They go, no, the world isn't a brutal place. You all are brutal assholes to each other. You make it a brutal place. But the characters in that world couldn't see that. Mm-hmm. It was just, this is the way it is. You know, isn't that interesting? Again, I think it's this, but we could see it because there was a window on a fictional another world. But you know, the same is true in reality. The world is what we make it. It's exactly what we make it. And there is no, that's just the way it is, or that's the way the world is. That's how people operate. It's like, no.
Steve, we know that's bullshit because the world used to be a lot more brutal.
Well, that's true. The world used to be horrible. We made it better. And we can make it better still. Absolutely.
Yeah, better.
You know, Obama in his talk at the DNC was just saying, like, you know, there are people 1 or 2 generations ago in the United States who were working in a factory and they had no rights. They had the most horrible environment to live in.
Yeah.
But they fought and persevered and voted, you know, like, and we owe it to those earlier generations to get out there and vote. And guys, we're so lucky. I mean, God, there's so many things that we don't have to deal with that people even 50 years ago, you know. I talk about the fact that I'm taking medication. I'm taking Wellbutrin right now, and I'm like, it's like a miracle. It's like an unbelievable thing that I can take something that helps me just feel better.
Yeah. What did people do 50, 60 years ago? They white knuckled it.
Yeah.
You know, that was it.
So do something nice. Talk to people about voting. Please do it, guys. We have to do something. You can't just sit around and do nothing and complain. Let's collectively do something.
And Steve, they not only white knuckled it, they had no reasonable expectation that things would improve.
Right.
Because things just didn't change over vast
It
expanses
was their
of time
accepted existence
centuries ago. I mean, that was it. But we're completely different. We're like, well, this technology is going to get better. Imagine what this technology
Why is it here
like
now?
in 10 years, 20 years, and that acceleration, I think, is going to keep going. And I think it will reach levels that we're just like, whoa, this is like way too fast. But that's a story for another day.
It's, you know, but it is remarkable. Like, human beings are remarkable because, first of all, we have like a tremendous variety of capacity, right? There can be people that are just the most giving, loving, patient people, and then there are people that are the exact opposite of that. You know, there's this amazing spectrum of different kinds of people. And also, and the thing that fascinates me is that we all can be influenced and inspired, right? Like, you know, we were inspired by Carl Sagan and by Randy and by, you know, Hitchens. A ton of people inspired us to become skeptics and to do what we're doing. And look what it spawned. I mean, the demon haunted world may very well be responsible, and Cosmos is probably the main reason why we're doing this show today. Right?
Mm-hmm. There were definitely other threads, other influences, but it's hard to think about like what course our lives would have taken without that influence. It was definitely a massive influence in this direction.
It is remarkable that we can be so heavily influenced, and that creativity and unique things, new things can come out of, you know, being influenced by, you know, new music, you know, came from other, you know, like the Beatles, for example, inspired generations of music that came after them.
What if we were inspired by other things like the Maharishi or, you know, what if I sometimes think about that if we took this alternate sort of path of thinking and, you know, trying to reason things in a totally different way. It's this alternate universe, you know, the goatee Spock kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think about that.
I think about that too.
That thing is that it's crazy to think about that, Ev, because one little difference, you know how like there's a million stories of people going, if I didn't go to the store that day, I wouldn't have met my wife. Like we are in a fish tank where all the water is swirling around. And it's like we're in this gigantic vat with each other of possibilities and potential.
The human soup.
But we also get to put our hands on it and say, this is what we want it to be, which is great. We're not rats in a cage. No, a little bit, but not completely.
Some people think we're in a simulation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about that, but we're going to die, and there's things that we can't fix right now and things that we can't change. But there's so much we can change and influence. So let's start with ourselves and with the people that we love.
While we're here.
I can't say it enough. The world is in a bad place right now, and it's people like us that know better that should do better. And let's do it. Right?
We have more longevity than other things.
Or something.
Yeah. Write a book, maybe.
It's kind of like we're activists or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Guys, I love all of you. I look forward to seeing you in person as soon as possible, and I am going to bid you adieu because a meal is waiting for me, and that is goodness that I'm going to go.
Ian,
enjoy.
kiss that baby for us.
Yes, Ian, congratulations.
Thank you.
And give Katie a hug.
Ian,
Jay, I'll see you in a couple hours, Jay.
Yeah, come as soon as you can, Bob. Bob and I are going to watch a movie tonight. Ian.
No spoilers.
Ian, I try not to say good luck and things like that because luck
I do.
doesn't exist. But the thing I want to tell you is I think
say
you and Katie are amazing people and you're going to be awesome parents. And just work hard and do right by your kids and you're going to love it, man. It's amazing.
Yay.
All right,
Good night.
guys. Good
Don't forget
night.
your hand
Do dinner.
sanitizer. Wash your hands, everyone. Wear your masks.
Kara says bye too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for all the fish.
There was fish.
Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is guide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.